Hello everyone, welcome to the Sad Crime Channel. I would like to tell you about the tragic events that took place in 2004 in Newport, United States. Please join me in listening to the story of Tom and Jackie Hawks. Tom was a Vietnam War veteran and worked as a court officer. His first marriage ended in divorce in 1979, leaving Tom to raise his two sons, Ryan and Matthew, on his own. He moved with them to Prescott, Arizona to be closer to family. There he bought a small house which he began to expand, soon adding 3 bedrooms and a gym. In 1986, Tom met Jackie, who was 10 years younger. She hailed from Ohio but had moved to Arizona after finishing high school. Despite being only 28 years old, she was already a widow. In 1985, while riding a motorcycle with her first husband, they had an accident, colliding with a car which resulted in her husband's death. Jackie was in critical condition but fortunately recovered, and a year later she met Tom. Jackie and Tom were fitness enthusiasts. Tom exercised for at least an hour and a half each day, and even competed in bodybuilding contests. Fitness was his true passion. Jackie, although not as intensely involved, regularly attended the gym. The couple married in 1989, and Jackie took on the role of stepmother to Tom's sons from his previous marriage. The boys, who were of school age and lived mostly with their father, quickly accepted their stepmother and warmly called her Mum, despite maintaining contact with their biological mother. Apart from fitness, Tom had another passion: boating. He had enjoyed boating as a child with his parents, and as an adult, purchased a motorboat on which he, Jackie, and his son spent most weekends. His dream was to buy a yacht and live on it with his wife once the boys were grown. Tom had invested his savings in real estate throughout his life, buying small and affordable houses over the decades. This allowed him to retire early in 2001. The income from his rental properties, along with his pension, was sufficient for him to live comfortably without working. At this point, Tom decided it was time to fulfill his dream. His children were grown, he was retired, and nothing held him back. He always believed life was too short and that one should seize every opportunity. So, together with Jackie, he purchased a yacht worth $300,000. The yacht, nearly 17 meters long with 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, was aptly named Well Deserved. They spent an additional $50,000 outfitting it with GPS, a power generator, and a desalination system to support long stays at sea. They intended not just to sail occasionally, but to live on their yacht, fulfilling their dream of sailing around Mexico. They sold their home in Prescott and moored their yacht in Newport, California. Initially, they embarked on short trips to become proficient with the yacht before setting off on a longer voyage along the southern coast of California to Mexico in 2002. Tom and Jackie were happier than ever, sending emails to friends, describing their adventures on the waters of the Gulf of California. They lived this dream for the next 2 years, until 2004, when they received wonderful news from Tom's younger son, the birth of his first son, and Tom and Jackie's first grandchild. The new grandparents were eager to meet their grandson, and were immediately smitten with him, especially Jackie, who, due to the motorcycle accident, could not have children of her own. Tom and Jackie had always been very family-oriented, and with the arrival of a new baby in the family, they realized how much they missed frequent contact with their loved ones. Despite their love for life at sea, they decided it was time for a change, especially as maintaining such a large yacht was expensive. They decided to sell Well Deserved and buy a smaller, less costly yacht. With the savings, they planned to purchase a house in Mexico, which was close enough to Arizona where Tom's sons lived. Arizona shares a border with Mexico, making it a convenient location. Decision made, they now needed to put their plan into action. At the end of June 2004, they moored their yacht in Newport Harbor. The couple decided against using brokers to sell the yacht, confident they could manage the sale themselves. Therefore, they placed an advertisement to sell their beloved yacht in the newspaper. Soon, the couple informed their family that they had found a buyer for Well Deserved. The buyer agreed to pay $435,000 for the yacht and an additional $50,000 for the equipment. Wanting to bid farewell to the yacht on which they had spent many wonderful moments, On the 12th of November 2004, they embarked on one last trip to Catalina Island. Knowing the sale was soon to be finalized, they wanted to make the most of their remaining time with well-deserved. 3 days after their return, they were to take the potential buyer on a similar trip to demonstrate how the yacht performed on the water. This was to be a trial voyage. So, on the 15th of November, they set sail once more with the buyers. A friend of theirs, who also owned a yacht, saw them departing and waved them off. Later, Jackie called this friend to say they were still at sea and would call again when they were heading back to the harbor. Sadly, she never called again. When the Hawks didn't contact their sons for several days, they began to worry. As I mentioned, they were very family-oriented, and their family was the most important thing to them. They spoke to their sons nearly every day, so this sudden silence was concerning. To investigate, Ryan and Matthew contacted their uncle, Tom's brother, who was a retired police officer. He discovered that Well-Deserved was docked in Newport Harbor, but the couple was not on board. When Jim went to check, he immediately sensed something was wrong. The dinghy they used to travel to and from the yacht was haphazardly moored to the dock, with its engines still in the water, something Tom and Jackie would never do. On board the yacht, Jim noticed a towel draped over a porthole in general disarray, which was very unlike the meticulous Hawks, who valued order and cleanliness. Something was amiss. Knowing the yacht might have been sold, Jim left a note for the new owners asking them to get in touch, and the next day, he received a call. A woman who introduced herself as Jennifer DeLeon confirmed that she and her husband, Skylar, had purchased the yacht a few days earlier and hadn't seen the previous owners since. They had tried to contact Tom and Jackie to return their personal belongings left on the yacht and had a few questions about its operation. Jennifer suggested that the Hawks might have gone to Mexico to buy a house, as that was their plan. This explanation might have been plausible since their car was also missing, but why the secrecy? Why had they not maintained any contact with their family? When the couple still did not get in touch with any family or friends, 2 weeks after they were last seen, their disappearance was reported to the police. The police thoroughly examined the yacht and found a receipt from Target for rubbish bags and several bottles of bleach. One officer remarked that it was the perfect kit for a murderer. They quickly identified the buyer from the store's surveillance cameras. Investigators expected to see Jennifer or Skylar, but were surprised to find an older man making the purchase. This man was Jennifer's father, who admitted to buying the items at his daughter's request to clean the yacht. He had done nothing illegal. Police took a closer look at the new yacht owners, especially Skylar DeLeon. Despite being only 25 years old, he had a criminal record, including a year in prison for armed burglary committed in 2002. Born in 1979, his real name was John Jacobson. He had a troubled childhood. His parents divorced when he was 5, and he remained with his father. His father, a drug dealer, was imprisoned for 3 years and was harsh and demanding, subjecting John to physical and psychological abuse. At 14, his father pushed him into acting, not to fulfill any of John's dreams, but to make money. John had a minor role in one episode of Power Rangers, but he struggled to remember his lines and ended up with a non-speaking part. His acting career ended there, much to his relief, as he hated it. John both despised his father and desperately sought his approval. At 20, he joined the Marines, boasting to everyone about his supposed achievements and the people he had killed. In reality, he served only 15 days. Everything he told his friends was a lie. After leaving the Marines, the man decided to change his name, citing a desire to distance himself from his father, who was a known criminal. However, there was another, perhaps even more important reason for this change, which I'll tell you about later. From that time on, John was known as Skylar DeLeon. Shortly after changing his name, he met Jennifer Henderson, who became his wife a year later. The police decided to interrogate the man, especially after being informed by the Hawks' accountant that someone had tried to withdraw money from their account. Those people were Jennifer and Skylar DeLeon. On November 29th, Skylar was questioned and admitted that he and his wife had indeed bought the yacht Well-Deserved and had all the notarized documents to prove it. They tried to withdraw money from the account because they had authorization to use it, signed by Tom and Jackie. This document was also signed in the presence of a notary. This sounded truly unbelievable because why would Tom and Jackie authorize an unknown couple to use their account? They didn't know them at all. No one does such things. Skylar explained that he was supposed to help the couple buy a house in Mexico. He had dual citizenship, Mexican and American, while Tom and Jackie had only American citizenship, making such a purchase much more difficult for them. The whole story sounded absurd, but the documents Jennifer and Skylar had confirmed the legality of the transaction. The investigators had nothing to latch on to. About a month after the couple's disappearance, the investigators decided to take another step and ask their son to appear on television, asking for any information about his parents. In this broadcast, besides information about Tom and Jackie, they also showed the car they were using, which had also not been found. Soon after, the investigators received a report on the car's location. It was found in Ensenada, Mexico. On site, the police did not find the missing couple, though they had high hopes. Instead, they were informed about how the car ended up there. It was delivered by Skylar DeLeon. Despite earlier statements claiming he had no idea where the car might be and had never been in it, Skylar's DNA was found inside the vehicle. The decision was then made to arrest him. However, since the investigators didn't have enough evidence to arrest him for the Hawks' disappearance, he was arrested for money laundering. Continuing to work on solving the disappearance of Tom and Jackie, the police took a closer look at the signed sales documents. They noticed that Jackie's signature wasn't as it usually was. She typically signed her name as Hawks, but on the sale deed, it looked like she had written just Hawk, with the letter S added later. It seemed as if the documents had been signed under duress. The notary, Mrs. Kathleen Harris, was re-interviewed and continued to insist that everything was legal. However, the investigators asked her one easy question that exposed her lie. They asked her to describe Tom and Jackie. Kathleen had no trouble describing Tom, but said Jackie had brown, shoulder-length curly hair. She did have hair like that once, but when they decided to embark on their long sea voyage, she cut it short and lightened it. This confirmed to the investigators that the notary had not witnessed the signing of the yacht sale agreement. Eventually, the notary admitted that Skylar DeLeon had paid her $2,000 to sign those documents with a backdated signature. She had never seen Tom and Jackie in person, only shown their pictures. Meanwhile, the investigators searched Skylar and Jennifer's home. Home is an overstatement. They were so poor they lived in a garage attached to Jennifer's parents' house, which didn't even have a bathroom. They couldn't afford a house but spent $500,000 on a yacht? The police found many items belonging to the Hawks there, including their documents, laptop, and camera. But something that caught their attention was a business card of an unknown police officer. Wanting to know why DeLeon kept a police officer's business card in his home, they contacted him. They then learned that Skylar was suspected of committing another murder. On December 27, 2003, he allegedly killed John Jarvie, a man he had met during his time in prison. Skylar had promised him that upon release, he would help him earn a significant amount of money. Jarvie was released first, but Skylar participated in a program allowing him to work and be free during the day while returning to prison at night. This allowed them to keep in touch, and eventually, Jarvie reminded Skylar of the promise he had previously made. Skylar agreed to the collaboration. All Jarvie had to do was invest $50,000. John Jarvie trusted his former cellmate, and that was his mistake, as he paid for it with his life. After Skylar took his life, he took the money Jarvie had brought along, and his car, which was later found parked in front of Jennifer and Skylar's home. More and more unsavory facts about the new yacht owner were coming to light, but the next move by the investigators revealed all the details of the case. On the yacht's sale contract was the name of a witness to the signing of the document. This witness was 21-year-old Alonzo Machain, who was a prison guard and had met Skylar in prison. The investigators informed him that if a murder had occurred and they could prove his involvement, he would face the death penalty. However, he could avoid this if he cooperated with them and revealed exactly what had happened. The young man quickly realized his situation and provided all the details. The truth turned out to be worse than the investigators had expected. Skylar DeLeon had approached Alonso for help in eliminating what he called two bad people. He was willing to pay Alonso $1 million for this assistance. Gullible Alonso believed him, and soon they found themselves on the yacht well-deserved, with Skylar pretending to be interested in buying the yacht. When Tom Hawks saw the young men, he became suspicious and asked how someone their age could afford such a purchase. Skylar then told him about his acting past, claiming he still received royalties from his film work and had been investing in real estate. This did not completely convince the Hawks. At that point, Skylar, noticing many family photos on the yacht, deduced that the people before him were very family-oriented and called his wife. Soon, Jennifer joined them, pregnant with their second child and accompanied by their young daughter. This sight softened Tom and Jackie's hearts. Seeing a family with a small child and another on the way lulled them into a false sense of security. They agreed to finalize the transaction, which was to take place a few days later. Skylar, however, wanted to take a test sale with them, during which they planned to force the couple to sign the sale agreement and authorize access to their bank account. Skylar and Jennifer were poor and aspired to live like the Hawks, wanting to enjoy life without working too hard. On the day of the test sale, Jennifer and the child did not appear. Skylar arrived with Alonzo and a man with the familiar name John F. Kennedy. This was not the deceased president, but another of Skylar's prison mates who was posing as an accountant. The five of them set sail, and when they were far from the shore, Skylar and his associates launched their attack. Kennedy feigned seasickness, going below deck with Tom, where Skylar soon joined them. They overpowered Tom with a stun gun and handcuffed him. They did the same to Jackie. They then forced them to sign the yacht sale documents and authorize access to their bank account. Having obtained what they wanted, they had to deal with Tom and Jackie. Alonzo realized that they were not the bad people Skylar had depicted, but lacked the courage to stand up to his older companions. He watched helplessly as Skylar taped their eyes and mouths shut and steered the yacht to the deepest part of the sea. Tom and Jackie must have realized their time was running out. Jackie pleaded for her life, wanting to see her grandson one last time. She likely thought that since Skylar had a child himself, mentioning her grandson might evoke some human emotion in him. Sadly, she was mistaken. Skylar was unyielding, showing no remorse, and followed through with his plan. When they reached the deepest part of the sea, Skylar tied the couple to the anchor. Tom tried to fight back, kicking Skylar with all his might, but it was futile. They had no chance of survival. Skylar pushed the couple, tied to the anchor, into the icy water. They stood no chance. Alonzo's testimony led to the arrest of Jennifer and John Kennedy. Thanks to his cooperation with the police and testifying against the other three, Alonzo McChain was sentenced in 2009 to 20 years in prison. Jennifer DeLeon, who reverted to her maiden name Henderson after their divorce, was tried in late 2007 and sentenced to 2 life terms without the possibility of parole. A year later, her husband was tried and found guilty of murdering Tom and Jackie Hawks and John Jarvie. In April 2009, he was sentenced to death. A month later, his prison mate John F. Kennedy, already convicted of murder, also received the death penalty.
I'm asking you, if at all possible, to just be as honest as you possibly can be. It would help us get the puzzle together and know the truth.
Skylar approaches me with this plan he has. He was going to do something that, was going to make some money. So he offers me to help him. The plan is that we were supposed to basically kidnap them and take them out to sea and toss them overboard.
And how was he planning to do that?
Tasers.
A taser.
First,
tasers?
He thought of tasers.
Okay, did he have 2 tasers?
Yeah. He told me to get handcuffs. I purchased the handcuffs at Uniform Express.
And before you got on the boat, did you have an exact plan as to how this was going to go down?
No. I wasn't paying attention. I was just talking to her, and she kind of rushes towards me and kind of leans over to see what was going on at the bottom. And she's screaming, "Oh, what's going on?" And that's when they were actually holding him down. Then that's when I realized that I had to, hold her. I was able to cuff Mrs. Hawk. At this time, I walked her down to the bedroom area where Skylar told me to go get some tape from the engine room. Got some duct tape. He got the tape and he told me to tape their eyes, tape their mouth. And at this point, Skylar went up and programmed the GPS system to go out. And he has me basically babysitting. They're on the bed, they're laying on the bed.
And they're handcuffed?
They're handcuffed, yes.
And tape over their mouths?
Yeah.
And their eyes?
Nice.
What happened next?
They had them one by one go up to the kitchen area where she was first. They had her sign that power of attorney. Then Skylar, he was looking for a third anchor to push them over. Just got some rope, brought them to the back, tied them together. They didn't know what was going on, and then Mr. Hawk was able to lift his legs somehow, and he tossed Skylar off his feet and knocked him on his butt.
By kicking him?
Yeah, and right behind him, the black guy just takes a big swing at his side of his head, and I'm pretty sure he knocked him out. I didn't believe what I was looking at. He just pushed him.
Where was the anchor at this moment before they were pushed?
Right before Skylar was holding him.
What did he do with the
He
anchor?
tossed it
At
over.
the same time they were being pushed, or?
At the same time,
What was Skylar acting? Maybe while this was happening?
he was calm.
This is while they were being bound and tossed overboard. He was calm.
He was calm. He was like, it was the most.
Earlier, I mentioned that Skylar had another reason for changing his name. The name Skylar is unisex, used by both men and women, and in prison, Skylar revealed that he was transgender. He was born a male, but felt he was a woman. Gender reassignment surgeries are not cheap, and Skylar needed money to finally afford it. This was one of the reasons for the murders of Tom and Jackie. While he did not succeed in his plan outside, in prison, he began the process of gender transition. He started taking hormone-blocking testosterone, was legally recognized as a woman, and is now named Skylar Preciosa DeLeon. In 2019, DeLeon's gender was legally changed to female. Skylar DeLeon, who now goes by the name Skylar Preciosa DeLeon, is still on death row at San Quentin State Prison. She was sentenced to death in 2009 by Orange County Superior Court Judge Frank Faisal and is currently awaiting the death penalty in Orange County Jail. The bodies of Jackie and Tom have never been found, and given they were abandoned in a place where the sea is very deep, it is assumed they never will be. To this day, they are listed as missing persons. Thank you for listening until the end. Goodbye. Take care.